3 ways that you can use imposter syndrome to your advantage. Hey, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know the next time I drop a video. Be sure to smash that like button and leave a comment below. And don't forget to share if there's anyone you know that this video would be helpful for. Now, everything that I just said is completely role modeled after other people I've seen on YouTube. And if you watched enough YouTube videos, you hear people kind of say the same things and do the same things and set up their sets the same way and use the same lights, and we copy each other. And you know what that is? That is an example of using imposter syndrome to your advantage. Okay, so let's talk about imposter syndrome. That topic came up in the last video that I did where I talked about why it was I basically left the fitness industry, although I'm still in fitness and I still have a fitness infomercial, but I've decided not to do any more fitness consumer videos at this stage in my life. And I talked about how I felt like an imposter the entire time once I entered into the consumer version of fitness. Like I'd always been like teaching direct to consumer, but once it became like videos and stuff, I just felt like a complete fraud. I felt like I didn't belong there. I felt like the whole world was going to be like, excuse me, miss, we all know you've been faking it. You can go now. Like literally, like the great and powerful Oz, like the curtain would lift and people would know that it was like this little girl behind the curtain, like pretending to be a fitness professional. And it was so cool to hear from many of you that you related to that feeling of imposter syndrome, which made me realize how beneficial imposter syndrome can be. So let's talk about the 3 ways that you can use imposter syndrome to your advantage. When you feel like an imposter, you feel like you don't belong, you are there because of luck, that people think you're faking it, you're a fraud, that you're going to be found out, people are talking about you, that you're just not qualified, you're not worthy, you're not valuable. Like these are the things that go through your head whenever you're doing something new. And that's the first thing you have to understand, is that we all feel that. If you've ever had a new job, I don't care if it was at the mall or, going to a new job at the office and stepping into a new career. Anytime you do something new where you're supposed to be qualified, you just feel like an idiot. You feel like you're faking it. I mean, I felt that way driving my son home from the hospital after giving birth. You know, my husband's in the driver's seat. I'm in the back seat holding his little head. And I remember just thinking to myself, did we fake these people out? Did they really think we know how to take care of a baby? We don't know how to take care of a baby? I must have really pulled the wool over their eyes. Like someone's gonna come knock on the door and say like, what do you think you could take care of another human being? Like I literally felt like an imposter, even as a new mom. So it's normal. That's the first thing, is you have to know it's super normal. The first way I want to suggest that you can use it to your advantage is think about the feelings you have. You feel like you don't know enough. You feel like you're not prepared. You feel like there's people who know more than you. And what should your reaction be? Your reaction should be to prepare. And so that's what I did as a new mom. I bought every single book that I could on parenting. I watched all the videos. I studied. I wanted to be a great parent. When I decided I wanted to make consumer fitness videos, I felt like a fraud. So I studied and studied and studied, and I took every possible fitness certification on the planet. At one point, I had 16 different fitness certifications and personal training certifications. Why? Because I didn't feel like I knew enough. So I think that's a real advantage. The same is true when I wanted to make sure that people trusted me as a business and marketing expert. I wanted to teach people how to build a business online, and I spent 4 years just over preparing. I took every seminar, every training. I paid tens of thousands of dollars for business coaches. I read every book. I listened to every podcast. I did every training. I went to every seminar. I did all the things. And I just kept studying because I didn't think I looked like the average. At that point, it was really kind of more male dominated. Like the gurus in the marketing and business space were a lot of older men. And I was like, I didn't want people to point at me and go, what does this fitness girl think she's doing teaching business? So I overcompensated by learning as much as possible, and I see that as an advantage. That's one of the ways that you can use imposter syndrome to your advantage. The second way that you can use imposter syndrome to your advantage is by recognizing that there are people who you're going to model yourself after. Right? Like if we didn't have people to model ourselves after, how would we know how to make a YouTube video? Right now, most people, when they launch a YouTube video, they're watching somebody who they love, and they're noticing the way they start their videos, the way they end their videos, the way they tell people to subscribe, all of those things. That is a positive. When we can model ourselves after people who we aspire to be like, that's a good thing. And it's okay. You just want to make sure that you're picking somebody, you're picking out the best pieces of the way that they do something, not to imitate them or to become them, but to use those things as foundational pieces. And I certainly did that as somebody who was making my first consumer fitness video. I showed up. Now at this point, I'd already made a ton of fitness videos for other instructors, but that felt different. And I had been teaching classes for 12 or some odd years. I can never keep the years straight. So I knew how to teach, and I knew how to do it on camera. But I show up on the set to teach my first consumer video, and I showed up having studied every single great fitness person you can think of, like Richard Simmons. Where's Richard? I love that man. I met him once. He is exactly like what you saw on TV. Like he is that kind and that fun and that energetic and that crazy. Where's Richard? Denise Austin. I studied Kathy Smith. I studied Jen Miller. She was like the inventor of the step. Remember the step platform? I studied Billy Blanks. I studied all of them, and they all have like really, really, really different personalities, completely, and different voices. But I studied everything from the way they stood, to the way they spoke, to the words that they used to cue, to their own little motivational phrases, and I wrote them all down. And I took the best pieces of every one of them, the things that I felt like, okay, that kind of feels natural for me, that I would like to do, okay, I can copy that. And I took all these pieces together, and I studied them, and I studied them, and I showed up on the set that day to film my first video, and the director says, okay, we're rolling in 3, 2, 1. And I start teaching, and I'm like 2 minutes into it, and she's like, cut. Chalene, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm teaching, I think. What did I do wrong? And she just was like, girl, I've taken your class. I've been watching you. I've seen you in rehearsals. I've watched your class. Like, what is this? What are you doing right now? Just be yourself. And I was like, oh. She's like, that's why you got this gig, because you're yourself, and it's different. It's not the same as all these other people. Like, so be yourself, because this feels really disconnected. So it's a good thing to use these role models so that you feel like, okay, I've got a foundation. And that's how we can use imposter syndrome, which we all have, to our advantage by looking at other people who've done it and kind of figuring out like, okay, this is how I'm going to move, this is how I'm going to act, this is how I'm going to be, this is what I want to do, and taking little bits and pieces of it. Like, think about little girls, they watch, or little boys even, you play house, or you play fireman, or I'll be the mommy, you be the daddy, and you take care of a little baby. Like, you're role modeling because you're watching the behavior that you aspire to be like that person, and you're modeling yourself after them. So that's a positive way to use imposter syndrome. And the third and final way to use imposter syndrome, and I just want to give you permission to do this, okay? I want to give you permission to fake it until you can make it your own. That's what we all do. Until you can figure out exactly who you are in this space, fake it. And just know we all feel like frauds. We all feel like we're acting. We all feel like we're faking it when we're stepping into something new. That's okay. Do not think that you're not ready to step into that greatness or that next thing that you want to do until you feel authentic, until you feel like you deserve to be there. Because if you're waiting for that, it will never happen, and you will die without your potential truly being realized. That sounds so terrible. I didn't mean to be so graphic, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't want your dream to die inside you. What I'm trying to say is, if you just keep waiting to be ready or to feel like you're ready enough, it ain't gonna happen. You have to start when you feel like, I'm completely faking it, I'm gonna be found out, but at least I know how to impersonate, kind of, somebody who's done it before. And you'll just impersonate, if that's what you want to call it, or kind of try to fake it until you can make it your own. And the quicker you make it your own, the faster you're going to be successful. Because here's the truth. 1 million people do what it is you want to do. 1 million. And nobody can do it the way you do it, just as you were shaped to do it, with all your strange idiosyncrasies and the way that you speak and the way that you talk and your background and your history and your pain and your past and your perspective. Like, nobody has all those things. Even your identical twin doesn't have those things. And there's somebody who needs it exactly that way. Somebody who will only receive the message when it comes from a messenger like you. So the sooner you can become you, the better, number one. And number two, this is like a bonus point, it is so much easier to be yourself than it is to pretend to be somebody else. Like, I just can't keep it straight. Like, I've got ADHD, so I've got a really bad memory, and I couldn't figure out how to fake it and pretend to be all those things anyways. I don't have the brain capacity to keep all that straight. So it's much easier to just be myself and deal with the fact that I am not going to be everybody's cup of tea. But there's going to be a certain amount of people who are like, I was looking for someone just like you. I need a message delivered in your voice, in your tone, with your experience. Like, I've been looking for someone just like you. And I guarantee you, somebody is looking for someone just like you. So it's normal. Very, very normal to have imposter syndrome. But do not allow that negative belief or that thought to prevent you from just starting. You just got to start. The only way to get over imposter syndrome is to push through it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you have subscribed. I want to say welcome to all of our new subscribers. Thank you. It's my goal to respond to your comments and to find out what it is that you're struggling with, and however it is I can help you. I don't profess to be an expert at all of these things, but your girl's been through a few things, and I do like to share. I believe that that's part of my purpose, is teaching. I think I was put on this planet to teach. I love teaching business. I love teaching marketing. I love teaching people how to get focused on what matters most, so you can take care of the people that matter most. I think people matter more than anything else. And when we understand like how to focus and what to focus on, life just gets a lot easier. And when life gets easier, you get happier. And that's why we're all here, right? I love you. I mean it. And I'll talk to you soon. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like this video, share it with somebody who you know might be suffering from imposter syndrome needlessly. And of course, leave a comment below and let me know the very first time ever you remember feeling like an imposter. And how did it turn out?